Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in. Fans, today we have one of my favorite players in the system. Been watching this young man all the way back to his college days at the University of Texas, DC. Dylan Campbell joins Dodgers Daily. Dylan, what an honor. This is going to be fun.
Yep, I'm excited to get to it, get talking. Let's go.
Okay, man. I know you had a big history in football. You were known as the Bo Jackson of running backs there in the Houston area. We're going to get to that here in a minute. But I want to get to an experience I had, good and bad. Of course, your name popped up in my mind as soon as I saw you get drafted. I was like, oh, hell yeah, thank God he's on my team now. Taking you back to your days at Texas, I watched it with my own eyes. You bunted for a base hit. You had a diving catch in right. You might have had two diving catches in right field, and then hit a home run. And I was like, hey, these guys have like Trey Faltini and all these guys, but that dude right there is the best player on the team, man. That was fun. Take us back to those days.
Yeah, I mean, I always reminisce on my days at Texas because, I mean, it's such a special place and a special university that not many people get to say that they were a part of. So I'm always very grateful for that. But I would just say, like, kind of how you were talking about, like, bunting for a hit, hitting a home run, diving plays in the outfield. I feel like that's kind of what we're brought up through that program, is just like being able to do multiple things, like kind of not just being able to be like like some would say a one-trick pony, like, oh, he's only got power, but he can't do anything else, or he's only got speed, but he can't, like, I don't know, he can't hit for power. Like, they kind of just built us in that way throughout coming up the system as a whole, from program up to down. And I feel like I've really benefited from that shifting into pro ball, because I mean, like you were kind of mentioning earlier, like those are great skill sets to have, like moving on to the next level.
Yeah, no doubt. What was Coach Pierce like to play for? I know Cody Hosey, who's at the AAA level now, he got to play for Coach Pierce when he was at Tulane. Mm-hmm. He's not at UT anymore, but great coach, really fundamental. So what was it like to play for him?
Yeah, I have nothing but great things to say about Coach Pierce. I came in just kind of as like a freshman who had talent but wasn't very polished throughout my game. And he was very hard on me from the beginning. Like, I didn't play a lot as a freshman, was mixing in and out, like some infield, some outfield. Couldn't really, like, I'll say, get on his good side at the beginning. Yeah. But just throughout the years and throughout the process of like the whole just working at, you know, cleaning up some areas of your game, I feel like he was very good at that. He was always in the cage with us, always open to talk. His office door was always open. And I feel like over that time, we kind of just built a great relationship. And I feel like once I got past that comfort zone with him of like, yeah, I'm not afraid to approach my head coach, and like kind of feel like we had a relationship built, that was kind of really when I like saw my game to kind of take off throughout the program.
Cool that you had to earn that, though. It wasn't just given to you. That's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Because like I feel like nowadays you'll see guys, like if they don't play, then they might be tempted to transfer to another school or something like that. But I'm glad that I was able to stick it out with him, because I feel like it was just nothing but the best. Now, like we butt heads a little bit, but it was always for the best.
Of course. You grew up a shortstop there in the Houston area, and Trey Faltini, maybe the best defensive shortstop I have ever seen with my own eyes at any level. Man, what was it like getting to watch him play shortstop? I know you played some second base too, so you got to play alongside him some.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing to be able to play next to a guy like that, because, I mean, first off, he came as a pitcher and outfielder to Texas.
Oh,
and
really?
Then, yeah. And then as a freshman made the transition to shortstop, so that's even more impressive how he played a little bit there, but like not much, and then he comes to one of the best schools in the country as a freshman, takes on the position. He worked with Tulo a lot, Troy Tulowitzki on his defense, and I mean that really transformed his game. And then like from the 2 to 3 years that I played with him, like I mean he was money. Every time a ball was hit to him, I was like always the most confident I can be, and I feel like everybody on the team and in the dugout like felt the same way about it.
So I think I know what your answer is going to be. Just put me on the field wherever you need me, right? But, hey, you did grow up a shortstop. You played some second base at Texas. You played some second base professionally. Do you have a preference, or is it as simple as just put me wherever?
Yeah, I don't really have a preference. Like you said, I came in as a shortstop, was traditionally familiar with infield. And I remember going to the area code games in high school, and I only brought an infield glove with me, and I remember one of the coaches on the team saying, "We're going to put you in center field today," and I was like, "Wait, what?" Like I've never played outfield before in my life, but they put me out there, made a good like nice little running catch over the shoulder, and then kind of from there, I was like, it was like a real like possibility in my mind because my dad he grew up playing outfield and taught me a little bit about outfield, but I kind of went the infield direction. And then so when I got to college, there was a pretty stacked infield, like guys like Ivan Melendez, Trey Faltini, Cam Williams, Zach Zubia. So it was just a matter of getting on the field. And for that, like the way that team was built, I thought it was better for me to be in the outfield. Now, I still did play a little bit of both, but eventually moving to the outfield was like the best bet for me.
Yeah, and you played running back in football, and so you're used to getting the ball there. And then you're the shortstop in high school, so you're used to getting the ball there. And then you were very good on the hardwood, too. And so you're used to getting the ball in basketball as well. So I like to ask this question sometimes for guys that transition from the infield to the outfield. Was it kind of a transition of it's kind of boring out there at first and you got to find ways to keep your mind in it? Or was that never a factor for you?
Yeah, I would say that was a little bit of a factor at the beginning, but once I kind of found ways to pass the time and like refocus and regroup in between pitches, I felt like it was a pretty easy transition. And especially coming from infield, like, I mean, the ball gets on you so much faster, like you're more engaged in the play each time. I feel like that helped me a lot to build my outfield game to what it is right now.
Did you ever pitch?
No, I never pitched. Now, if you ask any coach I've ever played under, then they'll tell you that I'm always asking to pitch because I just think it's fun and makes my arm stronger. But in college, I threw some bullpens for fun. I actually like faced my coach one time.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
It was good. I struck him out.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Any like knuckleball or any kind of crazy pitch that you got?
No, I was just fastball changeup.
Oh, nice.
Pretty simple, but I enjoy that. I like doing different things just to, expand your athleticism, do different movements, like just build more skill sets in different areas. I feel like is pretty beneficial.
Yeah, straight Jesuit, correct? That's where you graduated high school? Yeah, so big-time running back. As a matter of fact, I was reading an article from the Austin Statesman, and they actually listed you, and that's like one of the biggest papers in the entire state of Texas. So, I mean, this was a big deal. They actually listed you as the Bo Jackson of high school running backs. I mean, that is an impressive accomplishment, an impressive thing for them to say. So talk about your career on the gridiron and what it was like playing there for the Crusaders.
Yeah, that was a great experience for me. I loved football, not as much as baseball, and I had to like kind of deal with that throughout high school. Like everybody asking me like, what are you going to choose, baseball or football? And I kind of didn't know up until my junior year, but being on the football field was special. Like there's no other feeling than Friday night. Like you've been waiting, anticipating all week, and you finally get to go play like with your friends who you're in class with all the time and you practice and train with all day. But man, I feel like it was beneficial to play football just to make me into a better athlete, like taking contact. There's a different mentality behind football and baseball, I feel like. And I feel like that kind of like bulldog mentality on the football field is like crucial to transfer over to the baseball field. And it gave me like another competitive advantage. That's
interesting that you were always a baseball over football. And, a lot of, especially this day and generation, when you have like this 8-second reels or TikTok clips or whatever they may be, a lot of people are choosing faster moving sports. Baseball's a little slower moving. So what is it that made you migrate to the slower moving sport over the faster paced sports?
I always thought that I was much better at baseball. Some people would say different, but I feel like that was one thing that I like caught on with at a younger age, and I had been playing much longer. And then when I got to college or high school, baseball was like way more serious. Like I played in the summers. I didn't really do much spring ball. For football, like 7-on-7, none of that, because all my summers are usually spent playing baseball. Yeah. So that's kind of just how it worked out, and I'm glad it did because football's tough. It's a lot of contact, a lot more injuries, and everything like that. So I just feel like it was a good choice to stick with baseball because that's what I thought I was better at.
You ever have one of those? Of course, being down there in the Houston area, it was the summertime, 7,000 degrees every tournament you went to, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, did you ever have one of those tournaments where you showed up like at 9 o'clock in the morning on Sunday and you had to work your way through the bracket and finish like at 11 o'clock Sunday night. You ever have one of those long days?
All the time. Those were the toughest days because, I mean, if you didn't win on the day before, then you got put in the early games and you just had to kind of scratch and claw your way back up to the top. But yeah, being in Texas, those days were tough for sure. But yeah, that's part of the journey. Like those days I'll never forget because it kind of like helped me into the player that I am like right now.
So this is the first chance I've ever had to get to talk to you. I've seen you play quite a bit. The first chance to actually get to meet you and talk to you. So I don't know you all that great, but one thing that does definitely pop out, I'm pretty confident in making this comment here, that family is extremely important to you. You guys are super tight as a unit. And so I say that to bring me in my next question. You went to UT, you're from the Houston area. That's fairly close. So was that the draw to Texas?
Not necessarily. I feel like just growing up in Texas, like Texas was always the school that I watched and kind of wanted to be a part of.
No A&M?
No, definitely not A&M.
Oh, okay.
No A&M for sure. But I had some family members that went to UT, and just growing up, I always wanted to play on the screen that I was watching, which was Texas. And it is close to home, but like it's kind of far enough away. It's about 2.5 hours away to just get away from the family a little bit, but they can always still come visit and I can go home like pretty frequently.
Yeah. So 42 stolen bases. I'm going to look to my left. I'm going to get some of these statistics just to kind of explain the type of rounded out game that you had, the balanced game. 42 stolen bases at UT, 295 batting average. OPS was over 900, which goes to show your power. 24 home runs. Again, another power index there. And then you had bunt base hits. You played outfield. You played infield. So really, I mean, I know we've talked about it, but kind of dive back into just the pride you take in being well-rounded.
Yeah, I feel like that can carry your game to heights that you might not even know. Just being able to be a player that can do it all, I think is very beneficial because like I was saying earlier, playing under Coach Pearson at Texas, like that's stuff that they taught and that they wanted us to work at. Like if you were batting third that day, like, and you were leading the team in home runs, that doesn't mean that you can't lay down a bunt or like get a nice little base hit to move a runner over or something like that. So I feel like just being well-rounded can, like, let's say maybe one day you're not feeling great with your power or great, like, slugging the ball. Then you lay down a bunt and get a hit and save, like, instead of having an 0 for 4 day with a couple of strikeouts, then you turn it into a 1 for 4 day, you know, just little things like that I feel like carry you a long way.
100%. So let's talk about your transition into professional baseball. Of course, you have a wonderful situation at the University of Texas. It does not get any better than that. But then you get drafted by the Dodgers, 4th round. So, okay, Texas, Dodgers, 4th round, 2023 draft. Pretty awesome situation. So take us through your draft day and your transition into pro ball.
Yeah, the draft day was a little hectic to say the least. Now I remember talking to like some family and friends and stuff, and everybody's like, "What team would you prefer to get drafted to?" And the Dodgers was always kind of at the top of my list. It seemed like one of those teams that you want to play with, great history behind it, similar to Texas, like kind of one of the like so-called blue bloods of the MLB. So, I mean, during that draft day, we were waiting, and there was even a point where I was considering like returning to Texas another year, like if the draft didn't work out. But then we were sitting there, and then I got a call, and they said the Dodgers are about to take you. So I was like, that's awesome. I'm doing it. Let's go. And so from that second on, I felt like I could help the organization in many ways, like we were talking about earlier. So I'm just excited to just continue to work and climb throughout the system and make some progress.
I'm sure when you're at UT, you made it out to the West Coast, right? You probably played some West Coast teams in Southern California, maybe?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We played at Fullerton.
Okay, yeah.
Fullerton, and then we played Super Regional at Stanford. So that was as far west as we went. But, I mean, that's pretty close, not too far from LA, a little more north, but.
Had you ever been to California or the West Coast or Southern California, maybe on a leisure trip where you could actually get the vibe of what it was like?
I have some family who lives around San Diego area. Okay. So growing up as a kid, we would always go out there and go to the beach and go to Legoland and all kinds of stuff like that. So I kind of got to feel out a little bit growing up how California was. Now, I know obviously it's probably a little different than LA. I've only been to LA, I think, once, but I mean, California as a vibe is pretty cool. It's nice, good weather, beaches, all that stuff. So it's definitely a place you want to be. It's not cold, like it's good. It's good.
Like Midland, Michigan is.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That was tough to start the year.
Yeah.
Tough hitting out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to kind of round back to that going into your last year. Hitting in the Midwest League, like Dalton Rushing was above league average, and I think his batting average is like around 240 when he hit for Great Lakes. It's just an extremely difficult league to hit in, and especially for power. So when you look at your batting average and you look at all the things you do and you compare it to league average, it was a really good year for you. So I know you probably feel like you can hit for more power, and there's a lot more in the tank for you. So take us through last year for you.
Yeah, I think you're definitely spot on with saying that it was a pretty tough place to hit. But I mean, that's just kind of the cards that I was drawn and that anybody on that team is drawn. So we kind of just got to go through it as we can. Sorry.
We're good.
My bad. So you kind of just got to go through it however you can, almost like make it and survive. And I mean, I feel like it was a decent year overall. I've definitely got some room to grow, and I'm probably my biggest critic. I'm always hard on myself, and some people told me like, you did great this year, like you had a good year, but I always think there's room to grow. Even if I hit, I don't know, let's say 300 with 20 home runs, like I always feel like there's room to grow in your area. So I feel like next year, wherever I may start, just being more consistent from the jump, kind of feeling out the league and see how like different the competition is, and just kind of taking it one like day by day, just to like make sure my game is as consistent as it can be.
Yeah, I don't think people realize like one hit extra a week is like the difference in like 40 points in your batting average.
Exactly.
Over 6 months. And it just seemed like time after time after time, with 2 strikes, you would just lob one about 70 miles an hour into right field, and it would find green grass. And I kept thinking that's exactly what a well-rounded offensive guy does, is he gets that extra hit a week because he understands the importance of at least giving myself a chance, right?
Exactly, yeah. I would say if there's ever a day where maybe I'm not feeling the best or something, or there's a pitcher on the mound who I think has got some like nasty stuff, then maybe it might be that day where I try to just shoot one over second base or shoot one up the middle for just like a little single, and then maybe I can steal a couple bases or something and turn it into a positive day. But definitely looking into next year, like I want to be more consistent in my game as a whole. Like I feel like some weeks or some months, let's say we can break it down by months. Some months I hit for better power. Some months I hit for better average. Some months like I maybe have walked better or got on base more. So I feel like just like circling that in as a whole and like putting that into each month. I mean, like being well-rounded, not having some up months, some down months, and I feel like everything is going to go how I imagine it to be.
Dylan Ashotka, the hitting coach at AA Tulsa, he calls it having a big gulp. You have a big gulp of tools. You can hit home runs, you can bunt, you can hit for base hits, you can hit it the other way, you can pull the ball. That's a big gulp set of tools. So I say that to say, have the Dodgers kind of led you in which way that they want you to try to pattern your game, or is because you came in with such a big gulp of tools, have they let you determine what type of player you want to be?
I think I came in with a big set of tools, but that doesn't like mean that those guys aren't like putting everything they can into me and trying to help me, because I feel like I've learned a lot since I have been drafted. And like, let's say like, for example, after the season, I went out to Arizona for a couple of weeks and was hitting out there with some of the hitting coaches. And we were just like tapping into some different things that they saw in me that I might not have produced during the season, but like they know is in there. And so like, I mean, some days we were like going for home runs, and then other days we're going for just like the normal base hits. So I feel like they kind of have a good direction for me in terms of like how they see me performing like this season, next season, and like the seasons like incoming in the future.
Swing changes, statistics, whatever it may be. What thing do you think right now do you feel like is the most consistent in your game, to where if you got the call to become a major leaguer right now, tomorrow, what thing do you think you would rely on the most?
I think the mental game for me is huge. Yeah, because I mean, if a lot of players got called up right now, like they probably would. I mean, they wouldn't know what to do. I feel like, and at least like at least I have the mental game to be able to try to carry me through a little bit. I can slow the game down. The moment won't be too big for me. And I feel like I can always just put the bat on the ball if I need to. And then potentially make some plays with speed or put the ball in the gap, run, get a double, stuff like that.
Yeah. So big club calls and says, hey, we're going to bring you up in 7 days. Fill all your holes in. What are the holes that you feel like you would need to fill up the most?
I would say just being more consistent at the plate. I mean, obviously that's a big one for probably everybody because, hitting is hard. And I feel like as we're moving into the future now, like pitchers are getting better. Their pitch movement, their stuff is getting a lot better. So I feel like just honing in on who I am as a hitter and what I do best and kind of just sticking with that and allowing that to carry me. Obviously making adjustments on the way, but just being who I am, not trying to be somebody else. And I feel like that'll do it for me.
1,000% agree. Just be Dylan Campbell, be DC, the DC that I know that I've seen play many different times. That DC is well good enough to be an outstanding professional baseball player. So, hey, last of my business questions here. Take us through your off season. I know you're getting ready to go to a UT Ohio State basketball game, right? Right before all the snow and all that crap comes in. Yeah. So I know you're excited about that, but take us through your off season, where you're at, routines, goals, and all that.
Yeah, so I'm here in Austin right now, currently training. I kept my college apartment, so it's like right next to the baseball field, the baseball facility, and we get access pretty much all day. The cages are always open, field is always open, and there's always people up there who are hitting. So we have like a little small, like 5 to 7 size group of pro ball players, and we go every day in the morning. We hit, we run, we lift, we throw. Cool. So we're pretty much on the same routine each and every day. That's pretty much it. There's nothing else really to it. We go up there every day. We get our work in and then we chill afterwards. But it's definitely a fun grind when you have like a group of people who are on the same path as you, Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is cool. So some fun questions here. Question number 1, what is the code to get into that gate that you go into to get into Dish Falk Stadium? No, I'm just joking. Just joking.
I don't even have that. We got.
Oh, do you not? They haven't given you the code?
No, because we usually have fingerprints, but since like the new coaching staff and everything changed, like we like alumni guys got their fingerprints removed, so now like we have to see if anybody else is up there to let us in, which is fine. I mean, somebody's always up there, but we can't go at 8 p.m. if we wanted to. Probably be closed up. Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Toughest jump from Division I to professional ball or from a single A Rancho to high A Great Lakes? Which one's been the toughest jump for you?
Ooh, I think I didn't spend a whole lot of time in Rancho, so I'm going to kind of blend Rancho and Great Lakes together. I feel like that jump from college to there was a little bit different. Nothing that I wasn't prepared for, but obviously it is a lot more games. The pitching is better, and obviously, like you said, in the Midwest League, you have different weather conditions. So it was all just an adjustment. I feel like I got better as the season went on with the workload and like how many games we played per week, because 6 is a lot coming from college where you only play 4 and you got 3 off days each week versus 1 off day a week. Like, I feel like that was a big adjustment for me at the beginning, just kind of finding different things that help me with my recovery, help me stay healthy and stay on the field. But once I got a good grasp of that, I felt like the season kind of like just rolled through.
Yeah, that 1 off day a week goes fast, doesn't it?
It really does. Yeah, you wake up and it's 10 o'clock, and then I would go to the field and do treatment and stuff like that. Maybe take some swings, but then once I look up, it's already 5 p.m. and I'm ready for the next day, ready for the next Tuesday game.
Yeah, in May, you're like, hey, let's go play a round of golf. And by July, you're like, oh, hell no, man. I'm going home, right? Okay, so my next fun question here. First of all, for guys like you that are so accomplished, you might not even know this, but did you know that you have the all-time consecutive hits per game? No, how should I put this? Hitting streak, games in a row, hitting streak at the University of Texas. I completely butchered, but I think everybody understands what I'm saying. Did you know you actually had that?
I did know I had that, but it wasn't until I got within like 2 to 3 games of the record that I actually like realized it.
Somebody tell you?
I don't remember how I found out. I think I saw it on social media or
That's
something.
pressure right there, brother.
On Twitter. But I always say, like, I feel like for at least a hitter, like, you expect to get a hit every game.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I think that's what allowed me to not put so much pressure on it, because I was just going out there and playing each game. And then I looked up and it was like up to, I don't know, 30 something games. So it was a great accomplishment. I'm proud that I was able to do that. And like looking back on it, I see how special it was. But when I was playing, I didn't really realize it until it was over. And I was like, oh wow, like that was a lot of games.
Yeah. And then also, do you know how many games it is?
I think it was 38.
38, that's correct. And then do you know who actually has the longest streak in the history of college baseball?
Ooh. I think Robin Ventura?
Robin Ventura, who really cool whenever you played Oklahoma State there.
Yeah,
he was in Oklahoma State's dugout whenever you played against him.
It was like, what was it, maybe 64 games or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it was every single game he played that whole season he had a hit.
Yeah.
I remember looking into that just to see, like, after the season was over. I was like, I wonder what, because I was able to break the, like, Big 12 conference record and the school record, but not nationally, like all-time college record. So I was like, I'm curious what that is. 64 games. That's a lot of games.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you could have a game where you walk 3 times and get out once, and then that's it.
Yep.
Like I feel like that was how it ended for me. I believe we were in the super regionals, and I think I was 0 for 2. I was 0 for 2, and then my last 2 at bats, I got walked and intentionally walked. So like that was it. I lost 2 chances, but I mean, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah. Shot in the dark. Did you ever extend that streak with a bunt?
Ooh, no, never.
No? Okay.
Never.
Okay.
Now,
yeah, that would have been cool.
Now I did have I think maybe 1 or 2 games where the first hit was the bunt. But
okay. Yeah, nice.
First hit, but not like in the 9th inning, like last at bat, and I like drop a bunt down. I don't think I ever did that.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing how much easier baseball becomes when you get a hit your first time up?
Oh my gosh. I wish it was like that all the time. That's what makes it tough, because I mean, you get a hit the first time and you're like, oh, I got this. I'm feeling good today. But then if you start off 0 for 3 and you have your last at bat in the 9th off of a closer throwing 100, you're like, like, what am I supposed to do? So you just got to kind of fight through it.
Yeah. Okay, let's transition back to the gridiron. Again, you were known as the Bo Jackson of high school athletics there in the Houston area at Strake Jesuit. And so awesome football player there. So give us your best moment, your best game in football that you can remember.
Mm-hmm. My best game. We were in the playoffs my senior year. It was the 2nd round. We were playing Beaumont Westbrook. And we had played them in week 2 in the beginning of the season. And I think they beat us by like 40 points or something like that. And we're now playing them in the playoffs, win or go home in the 2nd round. And that game I had probably 250 total yards, 7 touchdowns. And we beat them
7 touchdowns.
Yeah, 7 touchdowns. And we beat them by, I think we beat them by 30 or something like that. So that was pretty sweet to feel, because we had played them the previous years. And they actually, the year before that, they went to state finals, and they got 2nd place. So they were a pretty good football team. So to put up those kind of numbers against them was awesome, especially having played against some of those guys and known some of them on the other team. Like, it felt really good. Thought they were going to just manhandle us like last time, but we came with it that day.
You mentioned earlier that the best thing that you can think of is walking on the field, Friday Night Lights football for your high school team. I'm going to challenge you right here, okay? Because going back to your Texas career, you had both a game-tying hit and then also a walk-off game winner in the Super Regional Finals against East Carolina to keep your season going for the University of Texas. So, man, that had to be a cool experience, right? Talk about that.
Oh, that was amazing. Like, first off, that environment was probably the most chaotic environment I've ever been a part of. You know, you got the like low fences, people hanging over the fence. They got chairs in the outfield, like people throwing beer up in the air and all kinds of stuff. Like, just like that kind of chaotic environment that you think of when you're playing, and you like put yourself in that situation before you actually get there. But I mean, that was such a special series, because we were down 1-0, and it was a 3-game series, and they were up, I think 7-2 in like the seventh inning.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we never think we're going to lose as players, but I mean, it was starting to creep in, like it's getting, like we're running out of time, like we better do something. And then I remember Douglas Hodo and Skylar Messenger, they're with the Orioles and the Rockies, but they hit home runs, a 3-run home run and a solo home run that brought us back. And then I came up and hit a game-tying home run and then the walk-off hit in the ninth. But, I mean, that was pretty special. That was as fun as it gets right there.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. Okay, let's go back to Trey Faltini. What's the most unbelievable thing you ever saw him do on a baseball field? Practice or game?
Ooh. This is tough. I think this is what everybody talks about, like within our program, but this might not show up on stat sheets or anything, but if he ever sensed like a lull in our team, if we were ever down or flat, like he would always take it upon himself to stir something up with the other team and just to get us going. And then whenever he would do that,
really?
Yeah, it was awesome. Like I remember one time we were at South Carolina playing there. It was, I think, 2022. And we were down in the game, like nothing was really going our way. And he's on deck. And it's kind of like your background, how the on-deck circle is kind of like off to the left and the hitter's over there by the right, like past the foul line. So he would stand like, I mean, pretty much almost like behind the catcher on the track right there. And the umpire kept having to tell him to move over, move back, move back. And then once he would move back and the umpire would turn around, he would walk back over there and like get back in the same spot. So like he got the fans all riled up and the other team, the other coach is out of the dugout, like screaming at him. And then after that, he went and grabbed the on-deck circle and drug it over there behind the catcher and like stood on it right there. And everybody went crazy. They had to stop the game. Like all the coaches on the other side were mad, but just stuff like that. Like he's a very like knowledgeable just ball player. Like he knows what's going on. He knows the game. He knows how to get under your skin. And like, I feel like that's like the best type of players when you look on the other team and you're like, dang, I hate that guy. But there's a reason for it because he was a good player and he always got the other teams thinking about them.
Very few things on earth that feel cooler than to put on a baseball uniform and put your sunglasses either on your face or on your hat and put your batting gloves in your back pocket and, you know, get the dirt all the way you want. It's a cool feeling, right? But I say that to say, what has been the coolest part for Dylan Campbell, DC here we're talking about being a professional baseball player?
Oh, that's a great question. I feel like just the kind of like this off-season part is really my favorite, just because you can look at a whole season, like a very large body of work, kind of assess it, deal with the coaches, discuss like what you need to work on, what you need to do going into the off-season, and then it's kind of just up to you. So I feel like I really enjoy like the work part of it and just kind of grinding on getting better each and every day and finding the things like we were talking about earlier in my game that I need to improve on, and just like holding myself accountable throughout this whole time of just getting better, practicing, making sure I'm lifting and running and doing all those things. Because, I mean, when I'm showing up to spring training, like I'm showing up ready to go. Like I feel like I don't want to need to like run a little bit or lift a little bit more to like make sure that I'm ready. Like I want to show up and be able to play 9 innings on the first day.
Yeah. So let's finish it up. Let's put a button on it with this. Talk about all the people that have helped you get here. This is your time to thank them.
My parents, for sure, to start. I mean, I wouldn't be here without them. The sacrifices they made to get me to where I am today is I mean, I'm so grateful for that because it wasn't easy. We had a lot of like struggles growing up trying to find a team that wanted me to play for them, because I feel like I was always one of the better players, or if not the best player on the team, but not everybody looked like me. So, I mean, some teams didn't want to give me a tryout. Some teams didn't want me to be on their team.
Their loss.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that was a long battle to try to find a team that wanted me. And then whenever I found that team, from there, I feel like they really realized that I was actually a good player, and then gave me a shot. And then from there, I mean, it was just up from there. High school coaches, I mean, every coach played a part into where I am today. High school coaches just staying honest about discipline and kind of building a small foundation of like work ethic and training and stuff like that, and just kind of how to be a man, how to go about yourself. And then my college coaches, when I went to college, I mean, tremendous job, because like I said earlier, I came in as a very talented player, but not as polished as I wanted to be, or as polished as I knew I could be. And so I feel like from there, we just got in the lab and just kind of built a ball player. And I feel like kind of that's where I am right now. It's just trying to build on that and trying to continue to grow and just round my game out as sharp as I can be.
Hey, Dylan Campbell, I have exercised a lot of demons today because you kicked OSU's butt all over the baseball diamond. So it is so gratifying to actually get to talk to you. What a wonderful young man you are, and now you're on my team. So this is just an absolutely awesome thing. So Dylan Campbell, this has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.